This guy was the greediest man you've ever heard of by a mile. When you think about the richest person in the world, you probably picture Elon Musk or maybe Bill Gates, but once upon a time, that title belonged to the American oil tycoon J. Paul Getty. In 1960, he was worth $1.2 billion, which equates to about $13 billion in today's money, a humble net worth in today's day and age, but back to the point. J. Paul Getty had a grandson named John Paul Getty III, who I'll refer to as Little John. Little John lived in Rome, and in 1973, at the age of 16, he was kidnapped by the 'Ndrangheta, an Italian crime organization based in Calabria, Italy. The kidnappers demanded $17 million from Little John's grandpa, J. Paul Getty, for his safe return. This is the equivalent of about $120 million today. Now, any parent will move mountains for their children. Any parent except J. Paul Getty, because he refused to pay the ransom, arguing that his 13 other grandchildren might become kidnap targets if the ransom was paid. Time passed on, and the 'Ndrangheta began treating Little John worse and worse, eventually taking away his radio and even playing Russian roulette against his head to pass the time. But the straw that broke the camel's back was an envelope sent in November 1973 containing a human ear and a threat from the kidnappers to mutilate Little John further unless they were paid $3.2 million, the equivalent of $22 million in today's money. This is when J. Paul Getty finally caved, but not completely. He gave the 'Ndrangheta $2.2 million rather than the $3.2 that they requested. Reason being that $2.2 million was the maximum amount that was tax deductible. He lent the remaining $1 million to his son at a 4% rate of interest. Little John suddenly appeared at a gas station in December 1973 after the ransom was paid. He tried to call his grandfather to thank him for paying, but J. Paul Getty refused to come to the phone. And ultimately, Little John was deeply traumatized by his kidnapping and developed a bad drinking and habit that led to a liver failure and a stroke that left him quadriplegic. He eventually passed away in 2011 at the age of 54.